Deep down, what's killing you? It's not failure. It's not rejection. It's not the world being unfair. What's killing you is the voice in your head that says, tomorrow, I'll start tomorrow. That poison of procrastination is the silent destroyer of dreams. Look at your life right now. Everything you are, every single result you have is the reflection of your habits, your discipline, your consistency. You don't need more motivation. You don't need someone clapping for you. You need to wake up and force yourself to move when you don't feel like it. That's the real test. Anyone can act when it's easy, when they're excited, but greatness belongs to those who show up broken, tired, uninspired, and still refuse to quit. If you can't master consistency, you will never master success. Discipline isn't about feeling good, it's about becoming unbreakable. You have to treat your goals like oxygen. You don't feel like breathing, you breathe because you must. Force yourself, drag yourself, crawl if you have to, but never allow inconsistency to rob you of the life you know you're capable of. Consistency is the bridge from where you are to where you're destined to be. You keep waiting for that magical feeling, that sudden spark of motivation to strike you like lightning, and that's exactly why you're stuck where you are. You've been sold the lie that motivation is what makes people successful, when in reality, the people you admire, the people who rise above, are the ones who move without it. Motivation is fragile. It's emotional, it's temporary, it is inconsistent, just like your results right now. One moment you're fired up, ready to conquer the world, and the next morning you can't even drag yourself out of bed. That's because you've given your power away to feelings. You've allowed your emotions to decide how hard you work, how consistent you are, and how much effort you put into your goals. And if your emotions control you, you will live and die at the mercy of comfort and laziness. The truth is, success doesn't care if you feel like it or not. The gym doesn't care if you're tired. Your business doesn't care if you're uninspired. Life doesn't care about your mood, and neither does your competition. The people out there winning are not winning because they're always motivated. They're winning because they act regardless of motivation. They've built the habit of movement. They've learned the art of showing up when everything inside of them screams to stop. They know that every time they choose discipline over feeling, they get one step closer to the life they want. But think about it. If you only act when you're motivated, how often would you actually take action? Once a week, once a month, whenever life feels perfect? It's why you're not seeing progress, because motivation is seasonal. It's unreliable. It's like chasing the wind. And deep down, you know this. You've felt those fleeting bursts of energy. You've promised yourself, this is it. And then the moment passes and you're back to square one. The cycle continues and you wake up years later wondering why nothing has changed. That's because you built your life on a foundation of feelings instead of a foundation of discipline. Discipline is the antidote to weakness. It is the weapon you wield when motivation has abandoned you. Discipline doesn't ask if you're ready. It commands you to rise whether you feel like it or not. That's why the strongest version of you is born when you're exhausted but still moving, when you're uninspired but still pushing, when you're broken but still refusing to quit. That's the moment you separate yourself from the crowd. Because everyone can work when it's easy, but very few will work when it's hard. That's why success is rare. It's reserved for the consistent. When you act without motivation, you train your mind to obey you, not your emotions. Every time you choose to do what's necessary instead of what feels good, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. At first, it feels brutal. It feels unfair. You'll battle yourself every day, but eventually it becomes who you are. Consistency hardens you. It shapes you into someone who no longer negotiates with laziness, someone who no longer bends to weakness, someone who no longer waits for the perfect moment, because they create it. You must understand that emotions are temporary, but results are permanent. The pain of dragging yourself to work, the discomfort of pushing through, that fades. But the pride of building yourself, the results of staying consistent, those stay with you forever. Every time you choose action over hesitation, you build momentum, and momentum is unstoppable. One day you'll look back and realize that all those days you forced yourself forward became the days that built the person you were always meant to be. So stop chasing feelings. Stop waiting for the fire inside to magically appear. It won't. Motivation is a luxury. Discipline is survival. Tell yourself right now, you don't move because you feel like it. You move because it's required. You don't show up because you're inspired. You show up because it's who you are. And every day you live by that standard, you are writing the future with your own hands. The world doesn't reward the dreamers who wait. It rewards the doers who act when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one even believes in them. If you want to change your life, you must decide today to cut ties with excuses. Force yourself to act. Force yourself to be consistent. Force yourself to become unshakable. That's how you rise. That's how you win. That's how you take control of your destiny. Your emotions will betray you more than anything else in life. One moment they'll tell you you're unstoppable, the next they'll convince you that you're worthless. If you build your life on emotions, you build it on sand, and the storm will tear it apart every single time. Emotions are liars. They exaggerate pain, they whisper excuses, they magnify fear, and they disguise comfort as safety. How many times have you told yourself, I don't feel like it today? How many dreams have died because you surrendered to that feeling? You skipped the gym because you felt tired. You delayed that business plan because you felt uncertain. You didn't take that chance because you felt afraid. And yet, every time you obey those emotions, you step further away from the person you're meant to become. Discipline is the antidote. Discipline is the voice that says, I don't care how you feel, we're doing it anyway. Discipline is stronger than the emotional storms that hit you every day. Discipline doesn't lie. Discipline delivers results, regardless of mood. When you act with discipline, you're no longer a puppet pulled by the strings of comfort and doubt. You are the master of your own actions. Think about soldiers. Do you think they feel like getting up at 4 a.m. to train in freezing conditions? Do you think they feel like pushing their bodies through pain every day? No. But discipline commands them, not emotion. That's why they become unbreakable. That's why they stand when others collapse. Their actions are not dictated by fleeting feelings, but by an unshakable code. That's exactly what you need in your life. A code, a standard, a discipline that overrides every emotion that tries to stop you. Your emotions will always seek the easy road. They will lure you into comfort. They will tell you to rest when you need to work, to quit when you need to push, to wait when you need to act. If you listen, you lose. Discipline is the only thing that cuts through the lies and forces you down the hard road. The road that builds you, sharpens you, and elevates you above everyone else. Here's the truth. Successful people feel the same emotions you do. They feel tired, they feel afraid, they feel uncertain. The difference is that they don't bow to those emotions. They recognize them, but they don't let them decide their actions. Their discipline is stronger, their standard is higher. They don't need to feel good to perform. They perform because that's the rule they live by. That's why they succeed while others crumble under the weight of their own excuses. You must train yourself to stop negotiating with emotions. When your alarm rings in the morning, don't debate. Don't listen to that little voice that says 5 more minutes. That voice is a liar. Discipline says get up now. When it's time to work, don't scroll. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't tell yourself you'll start later. Later never comes. Discipline says start now. And every time you choose discipline over emotion, you grow stronger. Every time you obey discipline, you weaken the grip emotions have on you. Eventually, something amazing happens. Discipline becomes who you are. At first, it's brutal because your emotions scream louder than anything else. But the more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. Soon, you'll stop even questioning whether you'll show up. You just do. You don't need to feel like it because discipline has replaced feeling, and that's freedom. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel like doing. Freedom is the power to rise above feeling and still move forward. Understand this. Emotions will come and go, but the results of discipline will stay with you forever. The pain of pushing through when you didn't want to, temporary. The satisfaction of knowing you kept your word to yourself, eternal. The pride of building strength, success, and resilience, permanent. No one can take that from you. You will never fully silence your emotions. They are part of being human. But you can strip them of their control. You can stop letting them dictate your destiny. Discipline doesn't erase emotions, it simply puts them in their place. You can feel tired and still act. You can feel afraid and still move. You can feel unmotivated and still win. That's what separates leaders from followers, champions from quitters, the remembered from the forgotten. At this point, so stop letting emotions write your story, stop letting moods control your actions, stand on discipline, live by a standard that doesn't shift with the wind. Every time emotion says stop, let discipline say go. Every time emotion says quit, let discipline say keep moving. And over time, the world will respect you, not because you felt great every day, but because you did what had to be done, no matter how you felt. That is power, that is strength, that is the path to greatness. Failure isn't what destroys people. Failure is part of the process. It teaches, it hardens, it sharpens. What truly destroys people is inconsistency. You could fail 1,000 times and still succeed if you remain consistent, but you could succeed once and lose it all if you cannot sustain it. Inconsistency is silent. It doesn't scream like failure. It creeps in slowly. It starts with one skipped workout, one missed day of work, one moment where you tell yourself, it's fine, I'll get back on track tomorrow. Then tomorrow turns into next week, and next week turns into months. And before you realize it, your momentum is gone, your progress is wasted, and your dream is nothing more than a memory. Dreams don't die overnight. They die slowly, suffocated by inconsistency. That's the truth no one wants to admit. People think failure is the enemy, but failure is only feedback. You can learn from it, grow from it, use it as fuel. Inconsistency, on the other hand, robs you of progress completely. It resets the clock every time you stop. Imagine planting a seed and watering it for 3 days, then abandoning it for a week, then watering it again for 2 days, then forgetting for a month. Will that seed ever grow into a tree? Of course not. That's exactly how inconsistency destroys your life. You never give your dream enough time to take root. Consistency compounds. Small actions repeated daily build unstoppable momentum. That's how skills are developed. That's how businesses are built. That's how bodies are transformed. But inconsistency breaks the chain. And when the chain breaks, you don't just pause. You lose strength, you lose rhythm, you lose belief. That's why inconsistency is more dangerous than failure. Failure hurts once, but inconsistency kills you slowly, quietly, by making you restart over and over until you're too tired to continue. Think about all the goals you've set in your life. How many times did you start with energy, with excitement, only to fade away when it got hard? You told yourself you'd write the book, start the business, change your body, learn the skill. You may have even started, but did you stay consistent? Did you keep going when the excitement wore off? Probably not. And that's why you didn't see results. Not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't talented, but because you weren't consistent. The most successful people in the world are not the most gifted. They are the most consistent. They show up when others don't. They push through when others quit. They keep stacking days, stacking effort, stacking results until eventually their momentum is too powerful to stop. And by then, it looks like magic, like luck, like talent, but it's not. It's consistency, the boring, unglamorous discipline of doing what needs to be done every single day. Because failure can be redeemed. You can fail and still come back stronger. But inconsistency builds a reputation with yourself. Every time you quit, every time you stop, you tell yourself, I can't be trusted to finish. That's why so many people feel stuck. They've trained themselves to break promises to themselves. They've built the habit of inconsistency, and now they no longer believe in their own worth. And when you can't trust yourself, you've already lost. The solution is simple, but it's not easy. You must commit to showing up every day, no matter how you feel, no matter what obstacles appear. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. Consistency beats perfection every time. A bad workout is better than no workout. A sloppy attempt is better than no attempt, because even on your worst day, when you stay consistent, you keep the chain alive. And that chain is the bridge between you and the life you want. You need to understand that inconsistencies disguise comfort. It feels easy to stop. It feels safe to pause. But what feels easy now will cost you everything later. Every skipped day piles up regret. Every broken streak steals your future. And the longer you allow inconsistency to dominate you, the harder it becomes to restart. That's why most people never do. They give up completely, not because they couldn't win, but because they couldn't stay consistent long enough to see results. The graveyard is full of dreams that never failed. They were simply abandoned. They were left half built, half finished, because the people who held them weren't consistent enough to see them through. Don't let your dream be one of them. Don't let inconsistency kill what failure never could. You don't need perfection. You don't need luck. You don't even need talent. You need to stay consistent. That's the real secret. That's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. To make a choice, either keep living in the cycle of start and stop, restart and quit, and watch your life pass you by, or build a discipline of consistency and force your dream into reality. Because inconsistency doesn't just waste time, it steals destiny. And if you let it control you, one day you'll look back and realize your dream didn't die because you failed. It died because you stopped showing up. Everyone wants the big breakthrough, the overnight success, the one golden moment that changes everything. But the truth is, those moments are illusions. What actually creates transformation is not one huge step. It's the small, often invisible steps you take every single day. Small daily actions might look insignificant in the moment, but they stack, they multiply, and they compound into unstoppable results over time. The problem is, most people underestimate them. They dismiss them as too small to matter, so they never stay consistent long enough to see the power of compounding at work. Think about water dripping on stone. One drop means nothing, 10 drops mean nothing, but thousands, millions of drops over time carve through rock. That's what your daily actions do. They carve through resistance, through weakness, through limitation, until the person you become is unrecognizable compared to the person you were. The small decisions, waking up on time, doing that extra rep, making that extra call, writing one page, saving a little money, don't look like they're changing your life, but together they are building momentum so powerful it cannot be stopped. The reason most people fail is not because they can't make big moves. It's because they ignore the small ones. They wait for motivation to launch some massive action. They wait for the perfect conditions to make one huge leap, but that leap never comes. Success doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's the accumulation of the daily grind. It's brushing your teeth one time that keeps them clean today, but brushing them every day that saves them for life. The same principle applies to every dream. You don't achieve it by one act, you achieve it by hundreds, thousands of small acts that compound. When you commit to daily actions, you build something more valuable than results. You build momentum. Momentum is invisible at first. You can't feel it, you can't see it, and that's why most people quit too early. But if you keep stacking the days, momentum builds like a snowball rolling downhill. At first, it's tiny, it barely moves, but with each push, it grows larger, heavier, faster, until eventually it's unstoppable. That's why the beginning is the hardest part, because the snowball is still small. But those who trust the process, those who keep showing up daily, eventually unleash a force so powerful that nothing can stand in its way. Understand this, the small daily actions you take are not just tasks, they are votes for the future you want. Every time you show up, you're casting a vote for the strong, disciplined version of yourself. Every time you skip, you're casting a vote for the weak, lazy version of yourself. One vote won't decide the outcome, but the accumulation of votes absolutely will. Who are you voting for with your actions every day? The beauty of small actions is that they're accessible. You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need to become perfect tomorrow. You just need to commit to small, repeatable actions and let time do the heavy lifting. A single push-up won't transform your body, but 100 a day over a year will. Reading one page won't make you wise, but 10 pages a day over 10 years will change your mind forever. Saving a small amount will make you rich, but saving consistently will give you freedom. The power is in repetition, not intensity. The tragedy is that people quit before they see results because they underestimate the process. They plant a seed and expect a tree the next day. When nothing happens, they give up. But growth takes time, results take patience. You cannot rush compounding. You must water the seed every single day, even when you see nothing happening above the surface, because eventually the roots take hold and the growth becomes unstoppable. The world only sees the tree when it stands tall, but you know the truth, you build it with small daily actions no one else noticed. And here's the secret. The bigger the goal, the smaller the actions required daily. It's not about doing something extraordinary once. It's about doing something ordinary consistently. Extraordinary results come from ordinary actions performed with relentless consistency. That's how greatness is built. That's how dreams become reality. So stop underestimating the small things. Stop waiting for the big opportunity. Your opportunity is here today in the small action you can take right now. Stack today's action on top of yesterday's, then do it again tomorrow and watch how the compound effect changes everything. It won't feel dramatic. It won't feel magical, but over time it will feel unstoppable because nothing can compete with a person who masters the power of small, daily, consistent action. Your future is hidden in the choices you make today. Will you ignore the small steps and keep waiting for some massive break that never comes? Or will you commit to the daily grind, trusting the compound effect to deliver the life you've always dreamed of? The decision is yours, and the time is now, because once you master the small daily actions, there is no force on this earth that can stop your results. Freedom is the word everyone craves. Freedom to live on your own terms, freedom to chase your dreams, freedom to become who you want to be. But here's the truth that most people refuse to accept. Freedom is not given, it is earned, and the price you pay is force. You don't wake up free, you don't suddenly feel free. You have to force yourself to do the things you don't want to do until one day they become part of you. Force equals freedom. The discipline you fight against today is the very thing that will set you free tomorrow. At first, everything feels heavy. Waking up early feels like torture. Pushing your body in the gym feels impossible. Sitting down to work when you'd rather scroll feels unbearable. That's because your mind and body are slaves to comfort. They resist pressure. They avoid effort. They crave ease. But you cannot be free if you are a slave to comfort. You cannot be free if you only move when you feel like it. And that's why you must force yourself, force your body to move, force your mind to focus, force your will to rise when every fiber of you wants to quit. In those moments of force, you are rewriting your identity. You are telling yourself, I am stronger than my weakness. I am greater than my excuses. Every time you push when you don't want to, you build power. And that power grows until what once required force now feels natural. At first, it takes all your strength to get out of bed at dawn. Eventually, it feels strange to sleep in. At first, it's a battle to eat clean. Eventually, junk food disgusts you. At first, it's a struggle to focus. Eventually, deep work becomes second nature. That's a transformation. Force creates habit, and habit creates freedom. People think freedom is doing whatever you want whenever you want. That's a lie. That's not freedom, that's chaos. Real freedom is control. Real freedom is mastery over yourself, over your emotions, over your actions. The man who only eats when he feels like it, only works when he feels inspired, only trains when he's motivated, that man is not free. He is shackled to his moods, chained by his laziness, imprisoned by his own weakness. The one who forces himself, who pushes past feelings, who conquers resistance, that man is free because nothing owns him. Think about it. A musician is only free to create when he has forced himself for years to practice scales. A fighter is only free in the ring when he has forced himself through endless rounds of training. An entrepreneur is only free to enjoy wealth when he has forced himself through sleepless nights of building. Every freedom you admire in others was purchased with force. The stage you dream of standing on, the lifestyle you want to live, the body you wish you had, all of it requires that you push yourself long before it feels comfortable. And the beauty is, once you break through that resistance, the chains fall off. What once felt impossible becomes natural. What once felt unnatural becomes automatic. That is freedom. Living in a way that was once beyond your reach, because you forced yourself to get there. You don't need to feel like working, you just work. You don't need to feel like training, you just train. You don't need to feel motivated. That's freedom, the freedom to act without hesitation, without resistance, without weakness. But here's the catch. Most people never get there. They quit during the force phase. They expect freedom without pressure, results without discipline, success without sacrifice. The moment it feels hard, they stop. They run back to comfort, not realizing that comfort is the cage. They never push hard enough, long enough to make greatness feel natural, and so they remain stuck, forever wishing, forever dreaming, forever imprisoned by their own lack of will. You must not be one of them. You must embrace the force. You must embrace the grind. Every day you push. Every day you fight. Every day you demand more of yourself than you feel like giving. And when it hurts, when it burns, when you want to quit, that's when you're closest to freedom. That's when the old chains are breaking. That's when the new version of you is being built. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop expecting the path to be easy. Freedom has a price, and that price is paid in force. The more you push, the freer you become. And one day you'll wake up and realize the things that once required all your willpower now happen effortlessly. That's when you know you've won. That's when you know you've broken free. That's when you know you're finally living on your own terms. Force equals freedom. Push yourself until it becomes natural and watch how the world bends in your favor. And now, here you stand at the crossroads of choice. You've heard the truth. Motivation won't save you. Emotions will betray you. Inconsistency will kill you. Small actions will build you. And force is the price of freedom. The question is simple. What will you do with it? You can leave this moment unchanged, go back to your comfort and keep living the same cycle of excuses. Or you can decide right now that your future will be different. The power is in your hands, and it always has been. You don't need permission. You don't need luck. You don't need perfect conditions. You need to act. You need to force yourself into consistency, into discipline, into daily actions that compound until greatness is no longer something you chase, but something you embody. Remember this, life will not wait for you, and neither will your dreams. The clock is ticking, the world is moving, and every second you hesitate is a second you'll never get back. So rise, push yourself, do the work today, tomorrow, and the next day until one day you look in the mirror and realize you have become unstoppable. This is your moment. Take it.